Come with me to a magical place where being labeled the pork queen is a compliment, where being nice is just a way of life, and where all leaders of the free world must pass through. Welcome to Iowa. Whether you're a current Iowan, an Iowa expat, or an Iowan at heart, this show is for you. This is the Iowa Podcast. Real Iowans, real talk, no drama.
Welcome to the Iowa Podcast. For today, I'll be your host, Jensen Cummings. Justin will be back. There's one question that I really have that's burning inside me that this podcast will help me answer, and that is, what is Iowa food culture? What's it all about? Who are the originators? What are the places and people moving it forward? And where do I get some? That's really what I'm focused on. Give you a little of my background. I've been in the culinary industry for 25 years, everything from dishwasher, cook, chef, restaurateur, consultant, podcast host, marketer, event producer, really run the gamut for sure. And my guest today similarly has run the gamut and is a serial entrepreneur like I am in this industry, and loves to be the dishwasher because that is the heart of the industry. It's where the magic really happens, right? So I have with me Marvin Azzopardi. Marvin, you and I have been having a lot of conversations, and I'm excited to have this conversation because this exploration for me is about coming back to Iowa, right? I was here. When I was 17, I started washing dishes at my uncle's restaurant named Iowa, Wallaby's Bar and Grill. Shout out to Uncle Rick. Lots of people will know that. They've been there since 1988.
Awesome.
And my uncles have really done a great job of cultivating the Ames culinary scene. And then met my wife. She's a cyclone through and through. We moved to Denver, 17, 18 years in Denver. As I mentioned, really touched a lot of the industry, but was able to now come back. And when I'm coming back here, I'm really wanting to learn about the Iowa food culture. And that's why you and I are here to talk, because this is an important question. So we're going to talk about all of your businesses, but I'm going to jump right into it. When I say Iowa food culture, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's interesting. How we met was your three gorgeous children. And I'm a big fan of farmers markets. And the beauty of downtown Des Moines Farmers Market, it's the second largest in the country.
Is that right? It's large.
Yeah, it's second largest.
Yeah.
Seattle is the largest.
Okay.
And when I first got here and people told me that, I came in August of 2020. It was supposed to be for a weekend, and been here ever since. But I've been to the farmers market, and I've got to meet some of the most incredible people. And to me, in the food industry, I always call myself the chief bottle washer, chief dishwasher, but I love going and walking through the farmers market. My little time that I was here playing in the kitchen, I was the opening prep chef at Hotel Fort Des Moines, and I literally went and scoured the farmers market, and Chef Andrew Wilson was the executive chef, and I would come back and I'd say, we got to incorporate these into our offering, and we got the micros in, we got different things, played with different stuff, but all local from the local farmers.
What does that mean to you as somebody when you're thinking from a culinary perspective, you walk into that market and it's just an abundance? There's so many great vendors, there's so many great stories, there's so many great products for you. Like, what a lot of people don't understand, when you're so in love with food and you walk into a place like that, it's a kid in a candy store. Try and explain that. Put some words to that, because I think that is a big part of what I'm seeing in the Iowa food culture.
And I think it's part of the whole foodie scene, right? So when you talk foodie scene, it's, especially since COVID, you got a lot of people that jumped in the kitchen, never been in a kitchen before. So when you go down to the farmer's market, you have people picking up certain items that they don't know what it is. And the culture down at the farmer's market are farmers that are actually from all over the world. We have a very diverse culture. And
I was impressed by that scene.
Yeah, and they literally will explain to you, this is from my country. It could be Vietnam. It could be Colombia. We had somebody selling a corn that was different than the corn that we have in Iowa. It actually came from Mexico. And he has a little farm, and he's growing it here. He's trying to break it into it. And he said, this is the way we do it in Mexico. But that's all education for me. So I got to know a lot of the vendors and ask questions. There is a very diverse palate. I have a certain pattern I do when I walk there in the morning, and it's usually I stop and get my different breakfast treats as we walk around and get to know people and connect the dots. So there's several of those vendors that, when you ask the question, I look at food from the lens of a photographer. So I usually carry a camera with me all the time. I'm an avid photographer. But I'll look at something, take a picture of it, and then I can start envisioning what will you do it on a plate.
I can tell you're a pro because you hold your camera upside down, your phone camera upside down. I was like, that's a very pro move. If you know, you know. If you don't,
and it's something that you just learn. Like I go to all of our restaurant partners and I teach them. I says, your employees, when they're making something, can literally pull up and take a shot and put it on social media. And people want to see all different kind of things that are going on in the kitchen. Even, I taught cooking classes, and I would tell them, take photographs every time you're making something, not only for your own memory, because when you put together your little cookbook that you're going to save for your kids, it's that instant gratification. And that's what I think I love about food. Food and photography it's the instant gratification of taking a shot or cooking a meal. Just like we just did before we started, we actually sampled some of the food from Local Bites.
Yes, we're going to talk about that because my favorite guests are the ones that bring me lunch, so you know.
But what I was watching is that instant gratification as you bit into the different items. And to me, that's the whole reason I've been in this business since I've been knee-high to a grasshopper. I'm 66 years old. I've been probably playing in the kitchen since I was 6 years old. So I've played with food and concepts and ideas my whole life. And there's a spice lady down at the farmer's market. She makes all these spices, and you can buy them like a little 3-ounce container. And she is so knowledgeable. I'll say, hey, I just bought this piece of meat. And she'd say, oh, try this, try that. And literally for 4 years, I had little dinner parties, and people say, well, what is this? And I'd say, well, I went to the spice lady, and she gave me this. And then I went to the guy selling the pork, and I bought this, and I went over here and I bought the vegetables, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
And there's restaurateurs here, very popular restaurateurs that I've seen down in the farmer's market almost every week.
There's a camaraderie that I think you see, and especially when you have those markets where you do see the chefs, you see the professionals. They're there to work. Yeah. Yet they still have that gleam in their eye where they're just, again, like a kid in a candy store, really excited about what the bounty of the land has to offer. So Iowa food culture for you starts at the farmer's market. I understand that completely. That is not a foreign concept to me. I feel like a lot of the things that I'm going to learn in this kind of exploration, this journey of what Iowa food culture is about, will be unbeknownst to me. It'll be foreign to me. It'll be new and exciting to me. But I'm glad to start in a place where I don't feel like out of my element, because the farmer's market is the epicenter of where food begins.
And all great chefs, and I'm going to just say the name of his restaurant because he's one of my favorites.
Shout out.
Is Harbingers. When I first got to town, I was literally doing the farmer's market, and I seen him walking around. I said, who is that? And they would tell me, and I'd say, that's impressive. What I like about him, he doesn't go up and say, I'm going to make this. He asks the vendor, what would you make with that?
Joe is a smart guy.
And he starts dialogue.
Yes.
And to me, that's what we're missing in this industry right now is that farmer has put his blood, sweat, and tears into making something, and now you're just grabbing it and walking away, where he could tell you, hey, my wife and I have been playing with this, and it's going to cause you to go back into the kitchen and go, I'm going to take that idea, and I'm going to try it. And all of a sudden, you just created a brand new dish.
Because it's an extension of what's happened with the land, with that seed, with cultivating that product, with processing that product, with packing all of your stuff into the back of your pickup truck at 6 a.m. to then schlep it down to the farmer's market.
Let's correct that for you, because everybody at the farmer's market's going to tell you something different, but they're literally on the road at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. As soon as I said that time, I was like,
some of these people are coming 200 miles to actually provide food for us at this farmer's market. and great families, multi-generational families.
Yeah.
And I walk it before they open. So when they're setting up, I walk down, say, hi, how you doing? They've been seeing me all the time, the crazy guy with the camera. And but they always stop, chat. Hey, I got something new today. Try this. And but it goes back down to, I think, every little farmer's market you go to usually has a local chef that has been inspiring the different culinaries in that area. There's a lady down at the farmer's market that she bought a ranch that the rancher, once he sold it to him, says you can't change the recipe. I feed them the last 90 days flaxseed.
Okay.
And they have the same elements as salmon.
Interesting.
Nothing I would have ever thought of.
Of course not, because our head's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? Our head's in those pots and pans. Our head's in those cookbooks. Their head is in that field. They are in there with the animals, with the produce. I love that. This is great. I couldn't have imagined a better place to start this exploration of, what is Iowa food culture than the farmer's market. And just real quick to tell everyone, he mentioned it, my 3 kids, the EatFuti app is one of your babies.
Yes.
Force behind the EatFuti app. And your mascot, let's say mascot, is a capybara,
yes.
right? A lovable giant rodent, my son's favorite animal, and you had these capybara backpacks. My son beelined it for you, and you were so gracious. Took some pictures with the kids, gave him one of the capybara backpacks, and still to this day, it's floating around our house all the time. I see it played with. I see it utilized. It's really great. So that's what the farmers market created, that opportunity.
Absolutely. And the best part is I was taking photographs, or had somebody taking photographs for me. We actually have the shot of your son telling your wife, it's a capybara. We actually got that shot before we even got introduced.
He is an animal lover, and he absolutely has that joyous intensity when he sees something like that. So that was really great. And that is why we're sitting here at this table today. And I think it's a beautiful thing that that food brings people together in the most unique ways, and you never know how.
Yeah.
Like you said, connecting the dots. It's like you just got to stay open to what's coming at you.
Yeah, I'm first generation American. My family comes from the island of Malta, but I always share La Familia. I don't care what country you're from. Everything starts around the dinner table. I was blessed. My 2 parents made us Sundays lunch, brunch, whatever you want to call it. We had to do it every Sunday.
Beautiful.
We got to sit and chat. We got to sit and ask questions. We got to explore the world, because whatever my father and mother put together and put on the plate, you had to try it.
Yes, we have the same rule.
Yeah.
You have to try everything. You don't have to like everything.
Absolutely.
Paint a picture for anybody who hasn't been to Local Bites, which is in the Greater Des Moines Partnership Building.
Yes.
What do they see? What are they looking at? How many vendors? Paint a picture for us.
So right now, it's the first time since 2019. It's all full. So there is 9 vendors, and we have a variety of different foods, from the burger shop, who's been there from the beginning. We got Teriyaki Boys that's been there from the beginning. We have Fernando's that's been there since the beginning. For those of you who go to the farmer's market, Holy Biscuits is now serving there. This month, they're going to expand it to beyond Wednesday mornings, but Holy Biscuits literally is the most incredible breakfast in the farmer's market. Everybody knows who Jeremy is. He has Chubb's down there, and that just opened up this year. We have one of the dishes that I brought is from Baba's, and that's the gyros. And then the best thing we had today is coming from A Pho. And Kim is an incredible young lady with a passion for food. She grew up in the Vietnamese community, and her parents owned Vietnamese restaurants. Her sister has an incredible restaurant today. But
here?
In Des Moines.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. And the best part is I was with a group of other Vietnamese restaurateurs, and they said to me, what's the best pho in Des Moines? I said, that's a rough question, because I'm sitting with all you guys and you all serve.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, I'll tell you what it is. It's A Pho inside the food court. So even the top chefs
Shout out.
Our Kim just does something magical, and you had it the first time.
Yes.
It's magic.
I co-sign everything that Marvin is saying right now. And Kim has just such an interest in food and culture as well. So I was really happy that you brought that food. What is it about an entrepreneur, an up-and-coming chef, somebody who's trying to represent their culture, their cuisine, that gets you excited to have them in the food hall?
It's the educating your guest of why you do what you do, right? So
seems simple, not.
Yeah, but it's not. Because a lot of times, like I just did a series of podcasts, and my question was, what brought you to Iowa? They all came from different countries. They all came a different path. You know, Arturo Muro from Roots 95, the Flame Group, I created his website and got introduced to him very early on in the EatFuti journey. He is an incredible story. And the reason he named his restaurant Roots 95, he came to this country in 1995. His journey began. And that is, you go to any of his restaurants, you'll be amazed. His catering is off the hook.
I love that the story is a part of it. Too many restaurants don't share their story. They hide a little bit behind the food, right? And the fact that somebody's willing to share their story, it's an interesting thing with pho restaurants. You'll see pho 95, pho 79, pho 82. And like, what are those numbers? Those are the years that they came to the United States. And so they're trying to hearken back to their roots, literally in the name of the restaurant, literally in the branding. So that's not surprising to hear.
This is a service industry. We lost that in COVID.
Yeah.
We packaged everything and we put it on a bag and we put it out, and no interaction.
Yeah. And then we dropped it on their front step.
And now, you know, the guests are crying for more engagement. The guest is asking that, you know, I want to know who the chef is. I own restaurants in California, and everybody knew who I was. If I was in Manhattan in the Desert, which was one of our restaurants, if I was in Latza Matza, which was one of our restaurants, if I was in one of our casino partners, they knew who I was. I did not hide behind, I'm not culinary trained. I'm literally self-taught all the way from the bottom up. So I don't use the word title chef. That's why I like being the dishwasher. So I always like people underestimating what you can do. But and I'm just shouting out to all the restaurateurs that are going to listen to this. You know, you want to educate your staff why you wake up every morning and you put your passion into this food.
100%.
Your restaurants will blow up. You will get so busy, you'll have more of your customers become champions because they're going to get passionate about seeing you here 5 years from now. If you don't engage with your customers now, and we don't fix this kind of downward spiral of the restaurant industry, we're not going to have restaurants like we do today.
Yeah, that's so true. So
we need servers, front of house, to realize that they have to smile, say hello, get to know the names of their customers. At Latza Matza, I loved it. I had a program called Pay It Forward, supporting our local community. My kids walked around with little orange bands, and it actually said Pay It Forward. I was heavily involved in the community and did a lot of nonprofits. And it's how I grew all of our businesses is by giving first. And the more I'm engaged, the more I'm having fun. Like right now, we're going to partner with Best Buddies. That is my nonprofit of choice. And they do an incredible thing. I just went to their event and had so much fun. But I have Tyler, who wanted to come with me today. I just didn't know if we had enough room. He's a Best Buddy. And he is my CEO. He is my Chief Engagement Officer.
Brilliant.
Because everywhere we go, everybody knows Tyler. And that's the way it should be at your restaurants. Yeah. When you walk out the door and you walk down the farmer's market, you got to be like Joe. Everybody's turning their heads saying, what's Joe buying?
Mm-hmm.
That is cool.
Yeah, he is influencing what's being grown. He's being influenced by what's being grown, and then you see those products or those techniques making their way into other restaurants. Joe's been brilliant at that. Joe also is so good at taking simple ingredients and just blowing them out of the water. He and I are both really fermentation nerds. That's where we connected. And shout out to Joe. Joe's been on the Best Served podcast. That's my humble plug there. Go check out bestservedpodcast.com. You'll see kind of my journey. We've done over 500 episodes, and it's all about just understanding like what is happening within the humans, what I call unsung hospitality heroes.
Our jobs as restaurateurs is to make the community one. I'm not competing against anybody else, and nobody should be competing against me. They should be literally helping build a community around the food.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you're doing at Local Bites. You're really creating an opportunity for small entrepreneurs to bring their fare to the people who may not understand all the intricacies of running and owning a restaurant, but they have the opportunity to find their way with a little bit of support and kind of the infrastructure that you all have there. We're coming to the end here, so we got to touch on the EatFuti app.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that you let people know what's going on with that, because that's really the connective tissue that's helping you amplify a lot of these restaurants that we've been shouting out this whole show.
Absolutely. And the whole idea of EatFuti came based on the fact of going out, and Tin and Nora and the team had developed an app called Iowa Foods. And I was walking down the skywalk like I always do, and I seen them changing the signs, and I knocked on the door, and I said, "Are you guys a development company?" Because I have a development company in California. And he goes, no. So I kept walking. And then a few weeks later, they posted on Indeed that they were looking for somebody to come in. So I came in, fell in love with them. I mean, he's a 23-year-old genius. Tin is. And he came to this country at the age of 10 years old. And I am a super, super fan of, and it's sad that I have to say, when somebody comes from a different culture, like I'm first generation, you get somebody that's here from a new country, they're here to prove that they can make it here.
Correct.
The next generations, we lose that because now they become dependent on everybody else. Or when you come here, Tim was 10 years old, didn't even know the language. But when he was in Vietnam, his school hired him to write programs for the school.
So he was writing code when he was 10 years old.
He started like 6 years old. The kid's incredible. But anyways, our app is all through Tin's efforts, mine, several other owners of restaurants. We literally have back-ended everything that a restaurant needs to know about off-premise dining, and that's my focus. That's going to be the biggest blow-up of this industry. It's going to save it, is off-premise dining, which happens to be pickup, delivery, catering, is giving the tools to the owners so they can create all kind of cool interactions, not only with their customers, new customers, but their employees. Our app is really designed to be an employee incentive program. So
rewards on both sides.
On both sides
of the equation, which I think is brilliant.
So it's actually a triple effect. So you get the server or front of house individual, you get the customer, who is your champion. That's what I look for in every one of my restaurants. I needed the champions. Now I get the rock star servers that totally get it, and they want to interact. They want to expand, right? Restaurants like Wasabi, they figure this out. That's why he's so freaking successful.
Understood.
He has rock stars in the front of the house. He has rock stars in the kitchen. It's an incredible environment. But the tool we've developed is, and I'm going to let this out of the bag. It isn't done yet, but we're negotiating to get VIP tickets from Live Nation, not only to get into a concert, but actually go behind the scenes with the artist. I believe if I implement that into our reward system, every server, every dishwasher, owners are going to be chomping at the bit to go see their famous artists.
Yeah.
We're also negotiating.
They're going to be recommending their restaurant, other restaurants.
Absolutely.
With their unique.
Everybody's going to have their own QR code.
Yeah.
There's a referral program. It's about building the community. So it's all community-centric. And we're going to be hosting events in Local Bites starting in mid-November to introduce the app. It's cool when you get. I always go and ask questions of what people want. So we have a great landlord at Local Bites. He sits with us, and we got him many times in our office. He's going, "You guys should do this." So literally in the middle of the night, Tim has programmers in Vietnam rewriting code, and we show it to Jesse and say, "Jesse, yeah, that's what I'm."
In real time.
Yeah, in real time. So we're hoping the 15th, the Colombian restaurant that's coming is incredible. And
that'll fill out the full
be totally
9
full.
vendors.
Yep. And then we're going to start hosting private events with each one of the vendors. And we want people to come and try the tiny plates. and it's going to be something very inexpensive to come and try the plates. Our charity of choice is going to be Best Buddies. So you're going to see Best Buddy individuals working with us. So that's what we want to do with Local Bites, EatFuti, and my One Hand Up project. We want to take the dreams of these young kids at Best Buddies. I call them very gifted. I think they're more blessed than we are.
Mm-hmm. They see the world differently.
They see the world through love and passion, and they don't have negativity. That's what I love about being around Tyler. He's messaging me right now, where are we going to go to lunch tomorrow? So it's the whole, I'm a spiritual person, faith, hope, and love, and connecting the dots. And if you can make one person's life better today, you've done it. So my project's called One Hand Up, Be the Difference.
Well, you made my life and everybody who's listening just a little bit better today. What a great way to leave us. That's it for this episode. I don't know that I even have closing remarks because that was a really great way to end it. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Iowa Podcast. Marvin Azzopardi is truly an icon of this industry, and humble to make sure that it's the dishwasher that always gets the love.
Absolutely.
That's it. Cheers, everybody.
And to my fellow Iowans, Iowa expats, and Iowans at heart, thanks for listening and subscribing to the Iowa Podcast.